It's a pleasure to be here with you, ladies, and to discuss on implementing sustainable practices on board. So today we're focusing on the vital role sustainability plays in preserving our oceans and ensuring the future of the yachting industry. So as a unique blend of luxury and adventure, the yachting industry has a responsibility to protect the environment that make it so special. So sustainability is not just a trend, as we mentioned, and I think we all agree, it's a necessity that should guide every decision from yacht design, but also up to daily operations. And we saw in the previous session how important actually is to take into account actually the hotel load and the operations on board. So we have the privilege of hearing from two visionary ladies today who are at the front of driving sustainable change within actually the industry. They're not only advocates for the environment, but also practical innovators who understand the challenges of implementing these practices on board. So our discussion will cover a broad range of topics from the core components of the sustainability to yachting practices and the inspiration behind these initiatives. And this will be very inspiring, I'm sure. So the practical steps and challenges of turning sustainability from an idea into reality, because at the end, this is what is important. We also explore how training and certification programs can help and are equipping yacht crews with the knowledge and tools that need to reduce the environmental footprint. So our goal today is not just to discuss sustainability, but to inspire action and to provide you with the insights and practical advice needed to implement meaningful change on board your vessels. And I think this is very important for Andrea and Rhea. Everybody lives with an action plan with easy steps that are actionable. So without further ado, let's dive into our discussion. And please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists, Claire Fernandier Sicard, founder of ETYC, and Aubri Keith, representing SeaKeepers. So briefly, Aubri is an ex-crew, current captain of Motor Yacht Discovery 2, and she will tell us more about the missions and of the boat and what her title entails. She also has a master's degree in marine science, so definitely know about sustainability and what she's talking about, and is a program development manager for SeaKeepers. So you will tell us more later on about your activities. Claire is also an ex-crew, so she's an ex-chief stewardess, passionate, as you will see when she starts speaking, about sustainability, who decided to create ETYC, which is a pioneer startup that offers a comprehensive training program for yacht crew, but also for yachts, and helping them to reduce their impact on the environment. So to kick off the discussion, and for those maybe who are not present for the previous session, let's begin by exploring the foundational aspects of sustainability in the yachting industry. So Claire, maybe, can you start telling us, and can you start defining what sustainable practices on super yacht entail and what they are critical for the yachting industry?
Yes, sure. Hi, Aubri. First, I wanted to say hello. We didn't have the occasion to meet each other before the session. So I'm really nice to meet you. And thank you, Janet, for being here and animated everything. So for me, the sustainability aboard a yacht is really a need. What we are facing when we are working as a crew is lots of issues which are moving all the time. We are going to some place. We will not find what we used to buy when we are in Europe or in America. I think that's Aubri. And this is something which is not easy for the crew to do when we are doing provisioning or when we are buying everything for the boat. Same also for the fuel. So because the boat is moving a lot, because the boat doesn't have lots of spaces on board, sustainability will help to fix all that stuff, even when we don't know that. So I think it's something a need more than an option. And I don't know if you heard me, Aubri, but I was just saying that I'm really nice to meet you. We didn't have the opportunity to talk together before the session, so I'm really nice to meet you in person today.
Nice to meet you as well.
Aubri, something to add maybe on what sustainable practices on board are and why they are so important? I think we've got a problem with Aubri.
Yeah, the connection.
Yeah. Andrea, can you maybe send a WhatsApp to Aubri?
Yes, I will make sure. I'm here making sure that when she freezes, you guys can continue. So,
well, while we are trying to, to find where Aubri is, and maybe Claire, can you tell us what inspired you actually to create ETYC?
What is what? Sorry.
What inspired you to create actually your organization, and how does ETYC contribute to advances to sustainability in yachting?
Yes, sure. So while I was working on board yachts, I saw some action that we were doing during my seasons on board. And I asked myself, why are we working like this? Why do we have that amount of waste? And why are we throwing away that much of food, energy consumption, water consumption? I was really surprised the way we were working on board the boats, because every crew would say, most of them will know that we are buying lots of snacks, lots of food for the crew, like everything. Even like stuff you will never buy at your place, but just because you can buy it, you just take it and it will end on the cupboard for a while. And then I was just asking myself why we were doing this. So I was looking for a training to train myself to reduce my own impact on board the boat. And because I couldn't find it, I just decided to create it. So I trained myself with ISO standards 14001, which is a sustainability standard. And then with courses with Cambridge. And that helps me to create the training design, especially for the crew.
Great. Easy. Doesn't exist, creative. That's clear.
Trying to, actually. I tried to, but yeah, we did it.
Aubri, what pushed you actually to join SeaKeepers?
Yeah, so first of all, sorry about my internet connection. I guess it's not strong enough where I was for a video call. But yeah, to answer your question, I can think of a lot of things that really inspired me to end up where I am, and particularly with SeaKeepers. So as you mentioned, I usually work in the yachting industry in various roles. So mostly as a tender captain, dive instructor, or first mate. And I kept having these really incredible experiences where I got to collaborate with local marine scientists in areas that we were operating in. And it almost felt like the universe was telling me that's where I should be taking my career next. And I spoke with some of my peers on other boats, and they were like, Aubri, these experiences are not the norm. So I really felt like I had ended up in the exact right place to foster that passion. And it was really just becoming the part of my job that I got the most fulfillment from. So almost a year after the pandemic hit, I decided to go back to school, get my master's in marine science, and the initial idea sort of creating a role for myself aboard a yacht as a officer in science and sustainability. But realized that was actually a lot harder to find than I thought it would be. And luckily I learned about SeaKeepers at one of their beach cleanups towards the end of my degree. And I realized that they pretty much do exactly what I was hoping to bring to yachting, in the opportunities to collaborate with marine researchers and have those experiences that I was having. But they were doing it on a much greater scale and with far more impact than I could hope to offer by working with just one boat. So shortly after I graduated, the position with them became available and I jumped on it. Yeah, that's how I ended up with SeaKeepers.
And you see exactly to be in the right place for you, which is very inspiring. Let's move to practical implementation. So now that we have an understanding of what sustainable means for the yachting, effective waste management, Claire, what are the most effective strategies we can implement to minimize the waste generation and managing waste on board? Can you provide example of successful programs or systems to put in place?
Actually, the general waste management system is already in place on board for the minimum size of boat. So usually it's something that should be applied on a boat. Not every boat are doing it, but most of them, they are. So they are already sorting waste, much more than what we are doing at land, which is something really tricky for them because they have 10 different types of garbage on board the boat, but when they're going on land, there is 2 or 3 different. And this is something they are really struggling with because they are doing lots of efforts on board to sort the waste. And at the end, there is no the same things doing on the land. And I'm talking more for the biggest yachts, because the big yachts are really these rules, and it's really an obligation. They really have to do it. A small boat, I saw some boat, they just don't know how to do it. They just don't make the difference between some plastics. So it's about education. They really need to understand more about that. And then how we can be effective with the waste. The first is to reduce. We don't need as much as quantity that we are buying on board a boat. The thing is, like, as I said, the boat is moving a lot, and most of the time is always the fear about missing. So we just buy because we don't know when we will come back and if we're going to miss it. So this is something I saw on many yachts, but also we are training them during the training how to choose the different packaging, because there is different way to buy the same product, and some have 10 packaging for one candy, which is inside like a plastic plus inside a big plastic, and so. And so it's just the way you are buying the products. Choose the best packaging, the one which is more efficiently recycling, and the one which is demanding less energy to produce and less packaging as possible.
Yeah, maybe it's as well to reduce the single-use plastic on board.
Yes. Yeah, the single-use plastic, yeah, but inland is already really tricky to find single-use plastic glasses, everything, because we're already doing that inland. I really think more about the food packaging. When you are buying tea and you have the tea box plus each bag of tea in a plastic tea sachet, and then the tea sachet is already in microplastic as well that you are putting. This is too much. This is too much. There is a very easy way to buy tea. It's like then you can reduce the waste. It's just a box with a tea vrac like this, and you just take the quantity you want, and that's it. It's all the things like this, just to find a way to buy the same product but with less packaging.
And have you seen boats having on board waste-to-energy systems, turning organic waste into a usable energy?
No, I never saw that.
Aubri?
No, I haven't seen that. But one thing that you can do is, if you're in port and perhaps there is some local composting facilities, you can save your food scraps and bring them to a local compost facility, thereby turning the waste to energy in another form.
I've seen that actually on a boat. On a boat in Monaco. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you do have a
3D printing room as well, to reprint with a 3D printer the material, which was when they needed a piece on board, actually they had a 3D print room actually in a separate room. So yeah, there are things actually definitely that you can do. What about optimizing energy efficiency? Or what best practices can yachts implement to optimize energy consumptions? And how can renewable energy sources be integrated into their operations? Claire or Aubri, I don't know.
Yeah, I can take this one if you'd like. So I guess some best practices for optimizing energy consumptions could be upgrading your systems to more energy efficient things like LED lighting or having smart HVAC controls. You can also optimize your propulsion. You get hybrid systems, or just properly maintaining your engine, keeping the hull and props clean, and also reducing your speed. So just simply reducing your speed from maybe 15% from full throttle can save you like 30% in fuel, and that'll also reduce your emissions. One vessel that's actually a part of our Discovery Yacht fleet that stands as kind of a leading example in optimizing their energies is a vessel called Energy Observer. And they utilize hydrogen fuel cells with a combination of other renewable energy sources. And that allows them to be entirely off the grid and produce zero emissions. So it's really quite an outstanding vessel for showing ways to be really energy efficient.
Yeah, I would add there is some shipyards that are already reusing the energy on board the boats to use on other parts of the boat. One boat we trained called Madame Kate, which is a Damen Amels yachting. It's Damen Amels. They are using the heat of the generator to reuse inside the boat, so to heat the water for the boiling water. So when they are cruising, actually they are spending less energy to heat the hot water than when they are dock or when they are at anchor. So as soon as you can reuse the energy on board the boat and you create a circular energy, this is something like every shipyard can try to design and to implement on board the boat. For me, this is something really interesting and important to reduce the energy consumption of the boat. And there is also something that will maybe make you laugh, but just switch off your lights. I mean, every single crew member I worked on board on the boat, everyone, there is always the light from the cabin is always on the bathroom. It's like always, and the captain is fighting all the time. Who let the light switch on? And it's something like I don't understand, which is so easy to do, but we still have to say it. It's nothing. So maybe the automation would be really interesting. When you leave the room, it's like switch off on its own. That could be interesting to make sure the crew switch off the lights. But yeah, it's something easy, but they have to do it. And I don't know if you know, but there is now a new regulation that you have to switch off the underwater lights when you after 10 p.m. And actually, I see in Monaco some boats are still not doing it even inside the ports, which is like something they really have to do it.
And they're going to be hot as well, and you see them all.
Yeah, not all, because I can see at anchor in front of Monaco or inside the port, there is like most of them are switch off the underwater lights, but there is still some like huge boats keeping the underwater lights during the full night inside the port or at anchor. Now it's forbidden, and they really should do it. And even for them, it's reducing the consumption. So there is no explanation to continuing doing it unless the owner is asking for it. But actually, there is the law now, so they have to do it.
Yeah, for marine life preservation.
Yeah.
What about water consumption and water conservation? What can be done?
Aubri, I'll let you start.
Sure. Yeah. So some really simple things that can be done are to install low flow fixtures in like your shower heads, your sinks, deck hoses, and things like that. Always make sure that the water is turned off. You can even have gray water recycling systems, which are really cool. So you can purify that water, reuse it again. There's also advanced purification technology so that you're not bringing on board things like bottled water. You're drinking water that you've desalinated and added back in all the necessary minerals so it's safe to drink. And yeah, I would say probably just to do some regular audits on your water usage, just to help identify if there's any areas to improve on your boat. Just make sure that you're using it as efficiently as possible. I spoke with one of the captains in our Discovery Yacht fleet about this question and asked if there was anything that was really working for them, save water. And he said that they are always running their washing machines and dishwashers on the speed cycles. So that significantly reduces water consumption, and just making sure that the crew is all trained on how to manage their water use while on board.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is also some thing that you can put on board the boat in every tap. It's a little thing that you just plug it, and it's reducing It's reducing the consumption by 50%. So you don't really feel that it's less water, but it's better for the what?
Sorry, I lost you. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that you can plug something on a little thing that is costing like 2-3 euros each on every tap, and then you are reducing the water consumption by 50%. So if you do that to all the crew area and in the kitchen as well, is helping to reduce a lot the water consumption. There is also obviously the main consumption for the boat is the wash down. When you are cleaning the boat is most of the time the biggest consumption of the boat. So there is lots of things that you can put in place on board to reduce the consumption of the boat while you are washing the boat. So there is, for example, reduce the quantity of the soap, because more you put soap, more you need to rinse. There is also some type of product that you can use where you need less rinsing as well. And there is also something that you can do, which is trying to wash the boat the day which is raining, not when there is thunderstorm, because like a week ago I saw a huge thunderstorm here in Monaco and the guy was cleaning the boat with the aluminum stick and I was like, oh my God, this is not a good idea. But yeah, I think the washdown is one of the biggest consumption for the boat, and it's something like have to be carefully questioned by the crew and how they can reduce this consumption as well.
Yeah, so by listening to you, definitely there are things which can easily be done and which doesn't require like a huge amount of money actually to install. Let's move to eco-friendly products and innovation. Sustainability, so it isn't just about practices, but it's also about the products and technologies we use. So Claire, how can yacht crew identify and incorporate sustainable cleaning agents and biodegradable materials into their operation, and what challenges?
So the first important point I would highlight is how to recognize a sustainable product. Because it's easy for everybody to say, I'm using sustainable product. You just
Labels?
Yeah. Labels, certification for me is the first things you have to take a look when you are buying a product. And what they are facing as an issue would be, is the product is working as well as the chemical product is working? Most of the time is a question that people are asking themselves, not only on the boat, but also at home. When you are trying to buy eco-friendly shampoo, sometimes they're like, yeah, but there is not that much foam, or the smell is not that strong, and blah, blah, blah. So there is that kind of issue that people are facing. But the advice I would give to the crew and to any person who wants to change something at home for their body or the cleaning home to a sustainable product is just to try. Just try one. Don't buy like 10 things from a brand and say, I found a nice brand, I'm going to try it. And then you buy 10 different things from the same brand. And at the end, you don't like it. Just try a little sample. And if you like, go for it. Otherwise, change and try something else. We all need to find something you like to work with. And for that, you need to try. So if you contact some company, there are sustainable product that I know you will have some tomorrow, just ask for sample, try it. And if you like, then you go for it. But see for the eco label. So eco certification, my favorite is the Eco Cert, which is for me the most trustful certification. And also watch the packaging, which is super important. Voilà.
I think maybe again, education is important there, to educate and to show what are the benefits. So it's always, we come to the same circle, like education.
Yeah, but the benefit is easy. You don't need to... What?
You need to know them.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, when you are using a chemical product, the smell can be so strong that you can't even open your eyes. You are like this, you can't breathe, and you can also, the material, when we see on board the yachts, we have lots of very sensitive material. And when you are using a chemical product, there is a risk to harm this material. And we see on many boats, they have marble. Most of them, the marble is not clean because there is a use of product that makes stains on the marble. So when you are using a biodegradable product, so a respectful product, you are reducing the risk to have a stain on the really sensitive material. You are reducing the risk for your health by breathing the smell, but also for your skin. So these are the benefits.
Aubri, can you mention something about the sustainability kits you proposed?
Yeah, first I just want to follow up on what you said there with the eco certs and everything. I think that is a great, label and a great way to identify environmentally friendly products. But there is a challenge to that, is that some studies have even found known harmful substances contained in one of the products that are, labeled as eco certs. So also do your own research and make sure that you really know what's in the product that you're buying. One way to do that is by looking at the product safety data sheet and making sure they don't contain harmful substances. But you can find those online and instructions on how to read them. But some common codes to look out would be like H400 through like H420, and those have known harmful substances in them. But basically with those products, things you want to look out for is like phosphates especially, which when you release phosphates into the water, they can behave like fertilizers and cause algae blooms, which can eventually lead to oxygen depletion, and then in severe cases can suffocate aquatic life, which is really bad. So other agents to look out for are things like chlorine, ammonia, potassium hydroxide, solvates, other chemicals. They can all affect the way that wildlife feeds, breathes, and even breeds. So you may need to bring those hazardous waste things to a disposal area, proper disposal area at your marina or shipyards, but make sure that you're not dumping them down the drains or putting it into trash. I think another big thing to realize is that a lot of those old cleaning products that have those things in them, like the phosphates and all that, they contain known harmful ingredients that are not compliant under MARPOL Annex 5, which basically applies to all vessels. So most cleaning products like boat washes are, essentially being discharged directly into the sea as you wash it off your boat. So if you're using a product that's known to be harmful to marine life, then basically what MARPOL is saying is that you are now dumping garbage into the sea. So really be careful with that. It's no longer like a friendly option because MARPOL is trying to enforce these things a bit better. It's now, a necessity to get things that are actually biodegradable. I also, as a young deckhand, I always wanted to do the eco-friendly products, and like Claire noticed, got a lot of pushback from the team, but didn't feel like it did as good of a job as the heavy chemicals did. But I think that the sector has really come a long way in recent years, and the products are all so much better. SeaKeepers, we offer to vessels that join our fleets or come to meet us at events items from our sustainability kits, which is basically just a collection of sustainable or environmentally friendly alternatives to common products that people use on boats. So that can be something like an aluminum water bottle, like this, to use instead of a plastic water bottle if you need to have something that is handy for guests that forgot their water bottles. Things like reef-safe sunscreens and also a few examples of boat washes and things like that are in our sustainability kits. So if anybody does want to join our Discovery Yacht fleet, that is something that you would have access to. It's our sustainability kits.
If I can add something, that if there is crew listening to us, if they can just don't buy any bleach on board, because I saw so many boats with bleach on board. And the recent one I went was in July, and the chief stewardess told me, do you smell a bad smell in this area? And I said, no. She asked me because since she had the COVID, she couldn't smell this kind of bad smell, she told me. So she said, do you smell something bad there? I said, no, there is no bad smell. She said, okay, because the captain told me that the smell was bad and I need to put bleach on this thing. I was like, oh my God, this is just, no, you can't put bleach. And then she said, yeah, but he said that then there is no blah, blah, blah around bleach, just no bleach. There is other really nice products working very well for the smell, especially. Ask your chief engineer for something sustainable, but please don't use bleach.
Another topic, Claire, you're going to be very passionate about budgets. So let's move to challenges and sustainable budget. So implementing sustainable practices come with its own set of challenges. So from practical hurdles to budget constraints. So let's address the biggest obstacle crew faces and explore how to balance sustainability with operational costs, and discuss also their sustainable practices, how they can lead actually to long-term financial benefits. So I don't know, maybe Aubri, can you tell us, speaking about challenges, what are the biggest challenges yacht crew face when implementing sustainable practices, and how could they overcome this? And I suspect it's changing habits, perception, cost.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with some challenges, they're quite easy up front to kind of fund and make the changes, but other technologies might have really high upfront costs. So getting, everyone to understand that, yes, there might be an initial investment, but down the road, we might see, benefits of reduced costs. So those high upfront costs can be quite challenging to defend. Also resistance to change from the crew. You might have crew members that are like, I've always done it this way. I've never had an issue. And just getting, everyone on board with like, hey, we need to make this change. It's not only for our benefit, but everyone's benefit. And getting them to understand that. And also just sometimes it's quite complex to integrate a lot of these new procedures and technologies in the way. So, I mean, I guess best ways to overcome that would be through education. So all the yacht crew listening to you now, kudos for educating yourselves and listening to this forum. Another way to get people on board with sustainability is just demonstrating the long-term financial and environmental benefits. So this can be really effective with like large upfront costs, like I was saying, to different sustainable practices, especially if the owners are very budget aware. That can be easily defended, and you can let them know that, they will actually end up saving money in the end.
On the long term.
And yeah, in the long term. And then another way to kind of ease the transition might be phasing implementation. So starting with maybe the most impactful changes, making sure everyone masters those new practices, and then move on to introducing something else once it's mastered. And then I guess also fostering a culture of sustainability on board. So making sure that leadership can demonstrate their commitment to being sustainable and the crew feels knowledgeable and supported in their efforts.
Claire, something to add?
Yes, I definitely agree with Aubri, because sometimes there is some crew just like, yeah, we always used to do that. So I'm going to continue just because it's a lack of knowledge, of course. And sometimes even when after the training, there is it's really a minimum of quantity of crew, but there is still some that are like, yeah, I don't really feel concerned. But most of the time it's like all of them feel concerned after the training, but definitely the cost, what I was saying since like 2 months now or 3 months.
It was my next question.
Yeah, we really need to add a line on the budget sheets for the sustainability for the boats. That could be for material, for the crew training, for anything that they can do to reduce the impact of the boat with a budget. They definitely need a budget. It's as I heard on the previous talk, and I was also saying that in Dubai in 2022, especially, is we need to change the business model. And I heard Robert said that the business model has to change, and they need to add a budget line for sustainability. There is the marketing budget line that should have a sustainability budget line. This is for me something that will help everybody to make a plan, an action plan in place. Otherwise, it's just going to be like small things during the year and nothing really organized, which is, for me, is blocking the evolution of the industry, of a boat or any companies. And then if also, I would say, if the owner is not really sensitive, we can introduce him to some foundation. Because I think doing some investment for the boat, for the crew, it's something like the owner really doesn't really understand. But if we maybe give them the first idea would be, maybe you can give to a foundation for the ocean. What will be a first step? He can donate for a foundation, and then, you just give him the idea. You can show him what the foundation is doing. And then so it's just the discussion is coming with the owner, and more action will be taken. I'm definitely convinced about it. So yeah, this is the budget passion.
Can you share maybe the results of your recent survey?
Yeah. The recent survey was just before the summer. So I asked to management companies if they have any sustainability budget line for any boats that are managing. And we received 156 answers from management. From the 160 boats are managed by the management company, they answered to us. So we had like 6 or 7 management companies who answered to us. They are managing in total 156 yachts, and only one was adding a sustainability budget line, which was about 15,000 euros a year. And the result is the boat trained with us in 2020 or 21. And that was the first boat to train with the training, just because they was convinced they already had the budget to invest in sustainability action for the boat. So this is the result. And then all of them said, yeah, we are doing some stuff. It will be around 5,000 euros a year, but there is no budget line dedicated. So this is why they don't know how much really they are spending to some action on board, because it's not related. It's just not there.
What would be a good amount to start to have a budget line for sustainability?
Yeah, it would be 15,000, 10,000, 15,000 would be good. It's not that big for this kind of yachts. For a small yachts, maybe yes. For sure, yes. But for a minimum size, which is 50 meters, I would say it's nothing, 50,000 for a year.
maybe again show actually the advantage on the long term and the economical benefits as well, maybe. In addition.
Yeah. I mean, we are talking now about the economical benefits, but tomorrow will be the insurance. And when you're gonna
did I tell you? Wait, yeah.
And if you're gonna sail the boat tomorrow, if the boat is consuming too much and is polluting too much, the owner will say, okay, no, I don't want this boat because I'm gonna be blocked in 5 years. So it's something is investment for the future, for the boat, as for the owner. Must.
And for charter vessels, especially, that can increase their market value and appeal to environmentally conscious clients.
Yeah. And this was one of the topics that was mentioned earlier in the previous session, definitely. Yeah. And I think we start seeing more and more as well. Yeah. Moving to crew training, certification, and community engagement, which is very important as well. Claire, with you, what are the key components of ETYC training program for yacht crew, and how does your certification process ensure yacht meets sustainability goals?
Yeah. So the beginning of the question was, what's the key component of the training, right?
For the training program for crew.
So
certification.
For me, there is two very important points to highlight on the training. The morning, we are talking about the risk for the environment, the climate change, that this is the why we need to take action. So this is to highlight to the crew, this is where we are now, and this is why we need to take action on board the boat. For me, this is the basic of understanding to take action, because it's like, if you don't know that your car is having an issue, if you don't see the lights saying, hey, you have your wheels which has an issue, you need to start and to change it, you will just continue just because you don't know. So it's something for me really important. And then during the afternoon, we see the management system, which is for me the most important part of the course, because it's giving them the basic action plan. It's based on the ISO standard. I mean, not based, but inspired by the ISO standard. So it's an action plan that the crew will decide together where they want to go and how they are going there to reduce the impact. So this is the management system, the environmental management system. And we are auditing the management system yearly. So every department of the boat has to take minimum 3 actions to reduce the impact of their departments. And we are developing right now, actually is developed already since last month, it's a digital platform. So the platform, every crew will have access to the digital platform. They will connect, they will end up to the departments, and they will be able to add some action that they took on board and to see the evolution of this. This is for me, the main component of the training.
Yep. Great. And it's only a day training?
It's 1 day training. Yeah, we used to do a 2-day training for head of department, but because I find out most of the time the crew was so busy, head of department couldn't be focused for 2 days training all together. Because for us, it's really important to have them all together. As I said, I have a bachelor in psychology, so I designed a training where all the crew will have to talk together about their own issues and to share together. Because I remember one day, which is something like really I have in memories, I was starting working on board. I was doing the washing machine, and the engineer came in the laundry and he said, okay, ladies, you have to reduce the washing machine, okay? And then he left. I was like, why? He didn't even explain to us why. And I didn't understand why it came there. It's not his business. We are just washing the clothes. But yeah, his business was the gray water tank was full and we were in the port and we couldn't empty it. And it was like, escalate, because we just didn't understand the issue we all facing together on board a boat. And this is why the training, all the head of department has to be together to discuss about the issue they are facing too. And so there is 1 day for head of department and 1 day for the rest of the crew, which is 2 different training.
Yeah.
Which are 2 different training.
Aubri, can you tell us more about Discovery Yacht Program, which is, the sustainability has 3 pillars, and one of the pillars is social as well, and the human element. And so, can you tell us more about Discovery Yacht Program, which I think is definitely a great example on how to engage actually the yachting community?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Discovery Yacht Program basically connects researchers and the yachting community. So we have programs within that, like our scientist-led expeditions and citizen science projects, where vessels can get actively involved in contributing to marine science. I really feel like this, plays a great role in sustainability and, the topic that we're discussing today, because these scientist-led expeditions and citizen science projects all give these vessels access to tools and resources they wouldn't have otherwise. Gives you the power to kind of teach yacht owners and crews about the ocean, allowing them to witness kind of firsthand what the challenges are that it faces due to unsustainable practices. And this can really deepen their understanding and commitment to protecting marine ecosystems and creatures within it. There's a really famous quote by Jacques Cousteau that says, "We only protect what we love, and we only love what we understand. And we only understand what we're taught." So we're giving these people a deeper love and understanding of the ocean by letting them experience and host these marine expeditions. So, for example, one of our projects, we have a citizen science projects where we give vessels Newston net, part of our Newston net research collective, and they'll tow that net and collect samples of microplastics in the water. So all of the boats that we have that are participating in that project are very likely not going to want to use anything with plastic on board their boat, because they've now understood the deeper issue with microplastics in the water and just how connected we are to it. So yeah, that's, I think, something that can really change the way you think on your boat.
I have a question for you, Aubri, if I can. Sorry, Janet. I take the opportunity. I have a boat that I trained last year, and it's quite a big boat, and they are really advanced in terms of action on board to reduce the impact of the boat. Is already an hybrid boat. And so because we are talking with them during the year, we're giving them advices when they need and support. And they were looking for, a sea bin to put when they were at anchor to collect the plastic and all the waste on board. And just during the charter or anytime they were anchor. And so we try to contact Sea Bin and to ask if we can have this kind of bin to put back to the boat. We never had feedback from them. Did you ever put that on board a boat with SeaKeepers, or are you, familiar with that?
I am familiar with sea bins. I've seen them a lot at marinas, and they need a sort of floating dock to be able to work effectively to move with the tides. But I would try reaching out to them again. We don't distribute that as part of a citizen science project, but we do a lot of community outreach where we encourage people to do beach cleanups. We host a lot of beach cleanups ourselves, but we encourage our Discovery Yacht fleet to also get involved with cleaning up the beach, cleaning up the ocean whenever they see trash. Slow down, pick it up. As part of our sustainability kit, we also provide a large mesh bag that you can carry with you whenever you go on a beach outing or out on your boat trip to kind of collect any trash that you find, any marine debris that you find, but just being good stewards in that way and picking up as much as you can. But the sea bin can get it, 24/7 when you might not be watching. So that's a really great tool. And I would encourage them to look further into that if that's what they're interested in.
Okay, thank you very much.
Aubri, I have another question for you. I understand that SeaKeepers' aim is to promote oceanic research, conservation, and education by something that may be quite unique, using private yachts or vessels or private vessels as platforms to the activity. But let's say that your own yacht was an order interesting to start. How is the process? So what has to be trying to go actually to be part actually of the program?
Yeah, so all that it requires is that you would fill out a Discovery Yacht application that can be found on our website, or you can email us at info@seakeepers.org, and we can send you a link to that application. So when you sign up, you would then have access to all of our programs. You can participate in a citizen science project where we would provide you with all the tools and equipment necessary to be able to collect data or samples for marine scientists in various projects, depending on where you're cruising. You can also then volunteer to host a scientist-led expedition. People might not be aware, but the cost of chartering a vessel is actually the most prohibitive cost in marine research and leads to so many research permits going unused. So you can use your vessel, the yacht that you're working on, as a platform for marine researchers, giving them access to the ocean and critical areas that they need to study. We have a list of all the expeditions that we have available on our website, and you can look those up, or I'd be happy to send them if you reached out. And You can browse through our expeditions and say, oh, I'd really like to do that, get involved with this. Owners and crew are welcome to participate and get involved with the science. So it can be just a really value add to your whole operation.
Wait, only owners and crew or?
Charter guests as well. If charter guests are interested in incorporating that into their holiday, yeah, I mean, whoever wants to participate, it's just obviously going to be limited to how many passengers the vessel can hold. Usually research teams vary significantly. Some only need space for maybe 2 to 3 researchers. Some might need accommodation for up to 10, 12 researchers. So it really depends on the vessel and the specific project.
But then, do you need a lot of space, actually? I suppose that they bring material with them now?
No, and typically most of the research is conducted from the tender. We've in fact even had smaller vessels get involved with us, people that are small, privately owned and operated sailing boats that have hosted scientist-led expeditions. So there are projects that can fit any size vessel wherever you are in the world. So yeah, it doesn't matter the size, but there are certain projects that do require specialized equipment. So we might request in the proposal for the expedition, it might say that they need a dive compressor on board because it's going to be in remote areas and they need to be able to scuba dive and fill tanks. Or if they're doing shark tagging activities, it's generally preferred to not have a rib style tender just because of hooks and sharp things that might be around. So if we're doing any shark tagging, a rigid tender is going to be much more preferable. So there are certain things. We have some big projects looking for vessels that have helicopter landing pads or ones that have large davits that can bring on and off submersible, things like that. So each project will say if there are specialized things that you need to have on board to participate.
Okay, great. Thank you. Definitely we'll have a look. And I think Will should have a look. Ladies, I think you have been really impressive. Do you have a final word to say? No, me. This is a final word.
If I can say maybe that I hope the crew will feel that they have the power to make change on board and they will feel less stressed and pressured by the industry, that they really don't know what the crew is facing on board with the pressure they already have with the guest and the season. And I really hope we will be able to create a beautiful community where the crew is supporting and where the crew is also passionate about the marine life in general and the expeditions and everything. And I hope also there is some key decision, like management company listening to us, owners of yachts, maybe, I hope so, but owners representative, that they will take in consideration that the risk they are facing not doing anything, which is for me the bigger risk, which is not doing anything. So yeah, I really hope. But there is also a sentence that I heard from the masterclass that hope is not a plan. So I don't hope they will do something, but I'm sure they're going to do it. So I'm going more on this way because hope is not a plan, but yes, I'm doing this.
We were saying before, it's more important to be proactive than reactive, because at the end, if they don't do anything, they will be hit by regulation, by problems with insurance, with taxes, with finances. So at the end, they will have to do something. But definitely, it's important to understand that, yeah, you need to start doing something now, and that every little step counts.
Yeah. Absolutely. I believe, but beyond the clear scientific benefit that there is going sustainable or doing something like hosting an expedition, they're just really rewarding ways to spend your time aboard the boat. Yeah. You just feel better about what you're doing and how you're interacting with the environment. And specifically with our expeditions, I mean, it's unlike any typical donation to a charity. You get to see exactly what you're contributing to, and you can really feel the impact you have. So I think with the scrutiny that we face in the yachting industry, we should really be using more yachts as platforms for marine research. Give yourself that karma credit and show the world the positive impact we can make on the environment.
Yeah, and maybe leadership is also very super important with like captains on board as well, the manager setting the tone, and yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you, ladies. I don't know if we have some questions, Andrea. See you tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? Great presentation and discussion on recycling. Thank you.
Sorry, I was going to say mostly comments, no actual questions. So thank you guys so much. I think a comment one, and I know I heard someone say already their website, but if you can close out with, because I don't have everything there. If you can guys close out with what is the best platform that we should be following, or what project do you have going on that we should be paying attention to?
I guess I can start. Yeah. So if you want to give us a follow on Instagram, we're just SeaKeepers. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, and be sure to check out all of our scientist-led expeditions that are published on our website. If you have any additional questions, just reach out to us at info@seakeepers.org, and we'll be happy to share more resources with you about how you can get involved.
Yeah, on our side, there is ETYC Yachts, obviously on Instagram and Facebook, and ETYC on LinkedIn. There is also the option for crew members to be sponsored by one of our sponsors if they wants to be trained and they don't have the money to pay for the training. One of our sponsors is really motivated to offer one training each month to one crew member. So do not hesitate to reach out to us if you're interested. And also, if you are yachts managed by a Monaco company, you can have subsidies for the training from the government. So yeah, reach out to us and we can help you to find a way if you want to train the crew, and we will be here to support you.